Hi. Okay, guys, so this is hi, Rupert, comedian, actor, and YouTube sensation in America and globally as well. And the reason I'm doing a chat connection with you, Rupert, is because a year ago, and just recently, you put up a couple of videos kind of out of your normal genre addressing the Hampstead children issue.
This is true.
Yeah,
I definitely did that.
I'm going to post links to those in this video, and you experienced what so many of us are going through or have gone through, the most appalling trolling, and you addressed that in the video, and that's when somebody said, look, can somebody contact this guy and just see if there's anything we can fill you in with or get your hit on the situation, because it's kind of a little bit brick wall. The kids aren't going back to the father. The mother and boyfriend are not in the country. They're indefinitely committed to state care.
Yeah.
So, and also I found out today that they've been moved. I think they're on their third foster home. The first foster carer reported that the children were still disclosing. They originally disclosed, then they apparently retracted under police supervision. And then a foster carer reported that they were once again disclosing, very disturbingly. And what happened was they were moved from her. So I heard today that they're actually moved to somewhere in the Leeds area, which has upset me a bit, because their father, alleged to be in the cult, and grandmother, alleged to be in the cult, and great-grandmother, and uncle, alleged to be in the cult, all live in Sheffield. So I'm just very disturbed. The other thing that makes me concerned is that a photograph was seen of their children on an unsupervised access day with their father. So I think there's still great reason for concern, and just wondered if you could throw your weight behind it or throw some insight on it or ask questions, whatever you like. Can you tell us, first of all, a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Rupert. I'm a YouTube comedian and actor. I'm also an activist and avid music fan. I make music videos, I make funny videos, and sometimes I make serious videos. And the serious ones seem to get more traction, and that's pretty much why I ran into you. I avoided clicking on the story when it first broke a year ago, just because of the nature of I didn't want to see. I knew if I did see, I'd be upset. And the conversation about it became so ubiquitous in my feed that I kind of had to look into it. So once I did, I felt compelled to say what I thought about it. And I knew that more would develop after I make the video. It's hard to make a video about something that's unfolding, because you always end up missing something.
Yeah.
When you get involved in something like that, you need to give constant updates, I guess. But I just said my piece. The thing I think is the most damning to me is how I view the father's character. Mm-hmm. When he was in that interview, his crying was fake. His smiles were also very fake. His eyes don't smile. His mouth, he only smiles with his mouth, like a serial killer. And it's not. I don't know if that's a good scene.
You're referring to the interview. This was what was astounding. Not only it went that the mother took them to the police, did all the right things, went to the police social services, they took her off the mother, and then 5 days later had the children's retracting, and then it was all like, the judge said, anybody who thinks this is true is evil, and she used 2 words about the public, the viewing public, the 4 million plus that viewed the children's disclosures. And that was like 9 months ago. She called them evil and wicked or something, fantasists or something. And then the BBC, which is supposed to be our impartial television broadcaster, a bit like CNN or Fox, I suppose, interviewed the father and did this whole sympathy thing. So that's what you're referring to. That you saw that interview clearly.
I did, and I was disturbed by it. For somebody who sometimes wants people to be guilty so that the explanation is fairly simple, It was a little bit vindicating, I guess. I assumed he was like he is, and he turned out to be exactly like he said he was. So,
Okay.
yeah, I just, that was the most damning thing to me. I mean, I judge people by their character and what they seem like.
Okay, the camera doesn't lie to a great
Not at
extent. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, and I did a whole rebuttal of that. It drove me crazy. There was also, the BBC covered it on radio as well, and we were doing a weekly protest outside the church.
No kidding.
Yeah, this was like back, I don't know, March time last year, and the BBC sent along a radio interviewer, and two of us, I'd nipped into the church service and spent the whole time there, and another girl had travelled from quite far, and I think the interviewer thought we were Hampstead residents, and she was hoping we would say, oh, this is disgraceful and this is like untrue and so on. And when we both said, actually, no, we believe it 100%, that's why we've travelled here, our parts weren't kept in, but they also did a hatchet job on the people that said they believed the children. So, and that priest, the alleged priest that was named in the videos, has left the country. He's now stationed in another country permanently. Originally, he took a funny harassment case to court against one of the activists who was on camera, and she has a radio show. Took her to court under some 18th century clerical law for what was the word? It was so vexing a cleric of the church. Yeah, vexatious behaviour towards a religious cleric. But he didn't turn up for the court case. He didn't think she would brazen it out. She got arrested, she got manhandled, she got intimidated, but she was brave and she just kept going. She turned up to court. None of the witnesses turned up, which was all the alleged, 4 of the 70 alleged abusers. So he's now no longer in London, no longer in Hampstead. He's permanently based, I think it's in Madrid. Okay, I've lost sound on you. I've lost volume?
No, I had the thing. You don't need to freak out about it. It happens. It's radio. It's not really something we need to panic about. I don't know. I lost my thought. It'll come back. Yeah, I don't. As it stands now, it just still leaves just basically an unsettled feeling. I mean, it's not. I think it's human to worry that if there's something wrong with some little kids. I think that's normal.
It's normal to be concerned. Can you talk to us a little bit about the trolling? And as somebody who's been on YouTube for quite a while, can you explain to people a little bit about trolling?
Sure. I actually have some of the nicest YouTube commenters and Facebook commenters on the internet. You go look around the internet. Basically, YouTube's comment section is the gas station bathroom wall of the internet. It's where people go to spew their vitriol. It's where people go to say mean things anonymously to each other about their creations and their things that they work on. So most of the time I have positive comments, people being nice. When I post something racy like this or something that's a little more serious, you get the haters, you get the people who come through. Now this is how you can spot a troll. Their first comment will be short and jabbing, and then their subsequent comments will be, paragraphs long epistles that no one but them is going to read. I scroll through it. Once it gets to the point where, I don't know, when you read a book, do they give you big giant paragraphs? No, usually the editor breaks it up so that you can flow along and read. These trolls they either have an emotional investment in it or someone's paying them. I took down one video. This is how I know they're trolls. I took the video down before it reached 300 views, and now it's well over 300 views. So they're still sharing it, talking about it, passing it around. Which, I could nip that in the bud by getting rid of it, but, let them fight it out. There's a couple of them in there that I guess we've suspected are, players in this, I guess. Like, I don't know. I assume maybe one of those commenters is the dad.
He has about forensic IT specialists have confirmed that he's got between 20 and 40 stock accounts that he uses.
Wow. He's bored.
And he makes conversations back and forth with himself, and then
I noticed that on some of them. I started looking around at some of them, and I noticed that if you followed some of the names and stuff around, what you would find is that they all link back to the same channel, which is usually trying to make it look like there's all this support. But if you're going to troll with multiple accounts, you need to change your voice. Like if you typed in all caps on one of them, don't type in all caps on the other one. Find a different voice to use for that other account. So it's less, seems less.
And occasionally he would slip. If he got busted, if somebody went to the wall with him on trolling, on comments, then he would say something about, it's outrageous that my children's faces are on YouTube. And then he'd just blow it. He'd just blown his
Do we have screenshots of any of that?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's so much evidence that's been gathered by people that are professionals that have done it for nothing. People, there's so much evidence. IP server tracking to porn distribution worldwide, including snuff movies. Right.
So one thing that I was thinking that I'm going to do is, I know I'm one person removed from hacker members of Anonymous. They don't like pedophiles at all. So I was thinking about, because I've gone to them with stuff before, and it's usually stuff that they don't want to touch, which I don't blame. I don't blame them for drawing a line in the sand. But the whole pedophile thing, they're good at getting in there. And, I mean, they hacked in and they gave all the names of people with the Ashley Madison accounts, which was funny because it was like 85% men and mostly fake female accounts on there. There was nobody on it, really. There were people paying to cheat. But, they managed to get in there and do that. So there's no reason that they can't find this guy. If he's posting, they can figure out his IP address and zero in on him. I don't want to hurt him. I would love to interview him though. I could make him squirm.
Yeah, I think Victoria Derbyshire was well prepped for that interview. Anonymous, I know Anonymous is just a gathering of lots of people, but Anonymous have been all over it. And what they did last year was they released the names, addresses, emails, and telephone numbers of the 75 users. I think Veterans Today did as well. There were some big hitters got behind it. And Beyond Belief have interviewed quite a few times Alfred Webb. It's had a lot of coverage. Even when the court case was on, it had over 4 million hits on the children's disclosures. But we're a year later and the children are still in danger. So, we just are proud of anything you can do, even just the fact that you posted about it. I don't know how I feel about you taking that video down, but I trust your judgment. But I'd love you to either hang this on yours or say something more or just brainstorm. We need to think outside the box. There's still court cases going on. We've had a couple of victories along the way. We've had 3. The Independent Police Complaints Commission upheld a complaint, but the Metropolitan Police aren't complying with it. And then somebody got the case dismissed against her for malicious communications or harassment against the 4 alleged paedophiles that were taking her to court. But now they're countersuing, getting her back in court for, they've got some other stupid charge. So, and then the other success was some of the advocates. They tried to put costs on lay litigation supporters for a barrister. The government did, and they lost that. The advocates didn't have to pay costs. But
for our American listeners, a barrister is a lawyer. A lot of people might not know that.
Okay. Well, anyway, so just any thoughts you've got, we want to thank you for what you've done so far. Did you say there was a possibility you might be able to come and do some research, or will you do research from there, or is there anything you can think outside the box to contribute to just try and locate the children and get this properly investigated?
Yes, I really feel like my inclination is to actually be there. I would love to do that, and I think that we could maybe arrange that. It would be a good step for me, and it would give me a chance to go somewhere where I'm not the norm. you go in, you go around. You just have to be in the right place at the right time. People know. There's enough people out there that know enough about this. If you are quiet and you don't show your hand, people like to spew to me. They'll tell me stuff. So I have a feeling that if I went and I hung around and I tried to figure it out through whatever means, fakery or playing dumb, I would like to go and actually see if I can't figure a few things out. And what you can do with that is, if you can get up to date enough on what's going on, you can put pressure in real time on people to disclose or to let us know what's going on. I think that what's gone on is good. It's great groundwork, and we just need to keep hammering away on it. It kind of makes me feel weird that I would be focusing on just one thing, which I guess I wouldn't, because I'd still have internet access. I can still work on all my other stuff, but it would just be weird to have that as a backdrop in my life, basically hunting a satanic pedophile ring. Sounds exciting, actually, but the reason I think over here people have jumped on it is because if we Americans saw a video like that, we would probably do what you did. We would go over and put immense pressure on the police and on the institutions named. But there's no children over here on camera talking like that. That's why we have to burden ourselves with other people's problems. It's just, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah. And it was a turning point. It was mind-blowing, psyche disturbing. It was crucial, but it was very... a lot of people are saying, the Franklin cover-up, the conspiracy of silence, the whole thing you had in the 80s, it's that all over again. And there's a similar thing going on in Australia. So it's not just exclusively England, but London is believed to be the child porn and child trafficking capital of the world.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to get away from xenophobic nation bashing.
Yeah,
but there does seem to be something going on over there where men are finding, and I've studied this actually, what happens. Most victims of, especially boys who are victims of rape by an older man, will draw pictures of their account, and there's always a sort of an electric charge that they put around their head or back on their, what I guess we'll call their root chakra or something like that, one of their chakras back there. But there's an energetic transfer that takes place. I don't like talking about this, but there is an energetic transfer that takes place when this happens, and this is how a lot of these men feel young. They I don't know. It's really an energy vampire thing coupled with some kind of an emotional or physical release. It's disgusting. I mean, I can't even believe. I mean, sex itself is odd enough. That's just a strange thing in and of itself on an anthropological level. But bringing young people into it is not. I mean, that's crossing such a line. I think anybody's in
very organized fashion as well, bringing it in and bringing it into schools and the church and different locations. There was a swimming pool mentioned as a crime scene, and private parties on Saturdays. My
tendency for comedy kicks in, and I start wanting to make jokes. It's not funny, but it's like there are some blatant logical fallacies that are being brought to light here. It's just, I still can't even believe that exists. It's still very stark and frightening in my mind. It's just like, what? Yeah. I mean, even if the video is 100% fake, that's still really messed up, It's like a video of a robbery or somebody getting hit by a car. It's just not something you want to watch again.
I think you said in your video that if these children have been coached, they need to be winning Oscars or whatever, because I don't believe the amount of detail they disclosed is something you could coach into any child, not at all. But
if you did it for years and years and stress them out, you could, but I don't get that from them. I don't get a panicked sense like that from them, or a robotic sense that would come out if that were the case. I get they're brother and sister. They're finishing each other's sentences, sometimes incorrectly. One will say one thing, one will say the other, and then sometimes they both They both nail it. And then it's just, why is it? This is what I don't understand. Why is it when something is so blatant like that that needs to be investigated, why is there always this cognitive dissonance where there's somebody out there who like, would you, like, I bet they could show video of some of this stuff happening and people would be like, oh, that's fake. Or, you know, that, well, whatever, you believe anything. It's just like, how blatant does it have to be before people go, wow, that's, you know, unanimously go, wow, that's messed up. What's going on over there in England?
Yeah, well, I think that's all social engineering, video games, desensitizing, mind control, you know, like this has been going on for 50 years. And just I wanted to say, even though it's a bit more down the specialist field, but what you were referring to and what is particularly British, they call it the Key of Solomon. So they have this thing that if you sodomize a child before the age of 12, it releases something up their spinal cord and affects the cortex of the brain, causing the brain.
It's actually pre sexual activity. It doesn't matter what age they are. It's
yes.
Because when you basically, I mean, we have to talk about this stuff. When you have your first orgasm, I was talking about this with somebody the other day. When you have your first orgasm, that's pretty much when it's over. When you actually have intercourse with somebody else, there's also a different change. There's a change that occurs with you hormonally. But when you basically when you cross that threshold from child into adult, when you actually have your first orgasm or even sexual experience, even if it's solo, there's an energetic change. So what they want to do is get a hold of people before that happens. It's kind of like you hear them say that they sacrifice virgins in other cultures or wherever or whatever. But that's where it is. It's an energy it's pure. It's for the most part unadulterated, and I have a hard time defending myself and using strong language to do so. I don't really like exercising my will over other people unless, they've crossed me and I can say no to something because it's my prerogative. But to physically manipulate somebody else for your own ends, it's just gross. I just don't. The fact that they can sleep at night is baffling to me. I just don't understand it.
It's the ultimate cowardice to take advantage of children. Look, maybe we can touch base on this once a week. And can you just finish up for this time by telling people a little bit why it would be good to have you come over and throw your weight behind it? Can you tell us something about how you've impacted things online, how you've made a difference in the past?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. First project I did when I moved to this town, I noticed that the police they were still, like it was the 1970s or something. And there's also a very, say, restlessness coming, which actually did come to fruition. I made 2 videos featuring the police and myself. On both videos, the police said things they weren't supposed to. One of them basically gave a veiled death threat right on camera. So I released these videos, and I was flagged later by a detective who recognized me, which I found amazing because I had changed my appearance so much. He told me that because of those 2 videos that the police department had to gather everybody together, not once but twice, to have a discussion about cameras, public safety, what's expected, what's legal, and the whole police department changed. The entire thing, and all I had to do was, well, it cost me a girlfriend, and it cost me a lot of self-respect. They were wild videos, which I received death threats for, and eventually took down. They still exist. I can't even watch them, though. I was still very young in my awakeness, so it comes off. It's like very loose. It's a loose cannon, but it did its job. Another thing I did was I opened and started a Facebook page in my hometown where there is no dissent. Now, I've capitalized on the need for dissent in that town, and the stupid pictures will get shared maybe close to 900 or 1,000 times if I put something very accessible to everybody. Some of the other stuff people don't get, but I do use it as an opportunity to educate. And the police realized that I would dump things out in public, and they had a vested interest in throwing the election, the recent election that came up. And every time they sent me something, I would write something up about it and post it. It made things dangerous for me. It made things dangerous for my family when I was eventually outed. I'm really good at PR. I know about timing because I've worked in the music biz. So eventually I won all of those battles. Everybody shut up, and I'm back to posting like normal on the page. It's just the election cycle. You get me in an election cycle, and I'm just a junkie. I'm a politics junkie. Local, regional, statewide, national, international. I'm there. I think all of it is interesting. So I do know how to disrupt, and I know how to investigate, and I also know how to rally, inspire, delineate tasks. It's just
great. Okay, well, I want to thank you for your interest, transatlantic, and I want to thank you for being willing to just like come over, and we can let people know. You know, anybody that wants to get involved with that side of things, the logistics of that, sponsoring flights, anything like that, just contact Rupert or contact me, and just anything anybody can do to help, we appreciate. So I just wanted to touch base with you. Thank you for going to bat, you know, on behalf of the children. And maybe could we do this once a week, and until we get close to the time you can travel? I know you've got
absolutely. Yeah, no, not a problem. We'll just set it up, and maybe we'll do it on Sunday afternoons like this. But yeah, no problem at all.
Can you just tell me about your May the 4th thing?
Yeah. Well, I'm a Star Wars baby. My parents met at Star Wars, and I was born on May 4th, which is the unofficial Star Wars holiday. May the 4th be with you. Every year in Charlottesville, Virginia, on the East Coast of America, I am the host of a show. It's a variety show, mostly featuring music, many local bands, but what they've done is rehearsed science fiction-related material. It's a salute to sci-fi. People dress up. It's a lot of fun. You see all kinds of costumes and people there. It's kind of like a mini Comic-Con for nerds who like music. When I started in this club, it started on a Sunday, which isn't really the best day for partying. This year it's on a Wednesday. As we move on through the years, it's going to get, eventually I'll have that Friday, Saturday slot for 2 years, and that will be, because then that's mine. I've earned that. That is my weekend. So,
yeah, that's brilliant.
So if you want to come over here, I've been in the hospitality business. I can make sure that you are well taken care of. Bring your stormtrooper costume and your kids, and we'll have a good time. Thank you very much, Angie, for.
We'll talk again next week, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
God bless.
You too.